Hi everyone, my name is Devin Moore. I'm happy to be with you guys today. Welcome to another Arts for All video. Today we're going to be going over basic watercolor techniques. Okay, let's go over what's in our kit. We'll have some sheets of paper. We'll have a card. We'll have some black glue. We'll have our palette with our paintbrush. We'll have a white pastel. And we'll also have a little foam addition for our paintbrush. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So first, I'm going to take one of my watercolor papers, and you'll notice that there is a side that feels a little bit more textured, and so I'm going to go on that side. I'm going to take my watercolor brush and get it nice and doused in water. And then I'm going to go ahead and work with my red. So first, our first technique is going to be a gradient. So when we're talking about a gradient, we're going to be going for a really dark red to a very light red, almost where we can barely see it. So first, I'm going to go ahead and just take that on my paper. And if you notice, there's some streaking, so I'm going to get a little more wet. And you can paint this way. If you'd rather paint that way, you're welcome to, whatever feels more natural. I'm just dipping that back in the palette when it seems like I need a little more. And I really like just nice long brush strokes here. For me, it's just very therapeutic, very calming. And so now we're getting down to the bottom. I'm going to do a little less paint on my brush. Just trying to fill the bottom of that. And now taking my watercolor, or just my water in my paintbrush, I'm just going to go over this a little bit and just try to smooth it out a little bit. Trying to blend the different shades of red. And I want it a little more saturated on top, so a little darker. So I'm going to add a little bit more paint up here. And of course I chose red, but you can choose any color in your palette here. I'm just partial, I like that red color. All right, so now looking at this, we can see that it's darker up here and lighter down here. So we can keep adding more paint, and that's gonna make it quite a bit darker if we want a little bit more contrast, so a really big difference between the dark and the light, or we can keep it just like this, where it's a very gentle gradient, so dark to light. So now, I'm going to push this aside to dry, and I want to talk about blending colors. So blending colors is one of my favorite things to do with our watercolor. So once again, I'm going to get my paintbrush nice and wet, and let's see, we're going to start with our lighter color first. So whenever I start working with yellows and reds, it makes me think of a sunset or a sunrise, and so I'm going to start with my yellow first because it's lighter. And I'm just going to start going on the bottom here. I'm just taking a few seconds in that yellow. There's no need to rush. And so once I feel good about the amount of yellow, I'm going to start moving into orange. So when we're thinking about orange, it's going to be yellow and red mixed, so I'm going to add a little bit of orange in there. I'm going to start adding it into that little bit of yellow and just start moving upwards. Maybe bring it down a little bit so it looks a little more natural of a fade in. And then lastly, I'm going to bring our red back in. So starting at the top. Again, making sure that we have a really nice wet paintbrush. Starting to move into that orange, so it kind of makes it a little bit more of a coral. And then we move into that orange a little bit more. If we're bringing up that word again, saturation or more contrast, we can really add a lot of red up here and then make that nice gradient into the orange. I'm going to bring it down just a little bit more into that yellow. And now I'm just actually going to take some water on my brush and just really gently bring those colors to blend a little bit more. And so this is just a really simple technique, but it can be nice for a bookmark, a little gift for someone. I do this a lot on cards. And it's just a really nice way to make a very pleasing watercolor piece.